Most men think attraction is all about looks, money, or how smooth your words are. But what if I told you that the most attractive men don't need to chase, impress, or even try that hard? What if I told you there are timeless, ancient principles, Stoic laws, that flip the entire game in your favor? Women are not magnetized by desperation or emotional instability. They are drawn almost unconsciously to calm, power, and presence. And the truth is, these traits aren't gifted, they're built. By the end of this video, you're going to understand why women feel pulled towards certain men and how to become one of them. Let's break the illusion and build the man most guys are stuck in a loop, scrolling, simping, and seeking approval. They tweak their appearance, memorize pickup lines, or flash cash, hoping this time it'll work. But that's not attraction, that's performance. And deep down, women can sense it. They feel when a man is not grounded in who he is. They see through the act, even if they can't explain it. What really stirs something deep inside them is a man who doesn't need them. A man who has his own mission, his own path, and his own internal calm. When you stop orbiting around her world and start building your own, she becomes the one drawn to your gravity. That's Stoicism, not coldness, but controlled power. See, a truly attractive man isn't trying to be liked. He's trying to be aligned with his values, aligned with his purpose, aligned with something greater than instant gratification. The Stoics didn't chase dopamine, they chased discipline. They knew that calm is not a mood, it's a weapon. Presence is not about talking more, it's about needing to say less. Power doesn't come from domination, it comes from self-mastery. The man who has himself under control controls the room, not through loudness, but through silence that commands attention. That's the kind of man who makes women feel safe, seen, and slightly mystified. So how do you build that man? It starts by killing the weak parts of you, the needy, insecure, validation-seeking parts. You starve them with action, with solitude, with hard choices. You trade comfort for conviction. You stop asking, "What do women want?" and start asking, "What kind of man would I respect?" Because that man, that version of you, is who they're really after. Not the polished persona, not the people pleaser, but the man who walks like he knows where he's going and isn't afraid to walk alone. Build him and you'll never chase again, because presence pulls harder than pursuit ever could. As where most men screw it up, they chase. They text too much, care too quickly, and get emotionally attached to a woman who hasn't even earned it. They lose their edge by seeking her validation instead of commanding her respect. Every time you overthink what to say, double text, or get reactive, you're silently killing her attraction. She feels it. You stop being the prize and start being an option. And once you give away your power, getting it back becomes a war. This is the brutal truth. Neediness is repellent, and most guys reek of it. The moment you pedestalize her, you shrink yourself. You start walking on eggshells, filtering your words, and suppressing your masculine instinct just to keep her interested. That's not leadership, that's submission. And women don't want a man who submits, they want a man who stands firm, even if it means walking away. The irony? The more you're willing to walk away, the more she wants to chase. Confidence isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about actually being okay with losing her if she doesn't match your standard. That's what flips the script. When you stop playing her game and make her play yours, everything shifts. She starts to wonder if she's good enough for you, not the other way around. You have to understand something primal. Attraction isn't logical, it's emotional. And emotions are sparked by tension, mystery, and unpredictability, not comfort and overexposure. If she always knows where she stands with you, the excitement dies. You become routine, safe, boring. And boring is the death of desire. You want to be her emotional roller coaster, not her emotional support animal. Let her miss you. Let her question where she stands. Let her feel that hunger to earn your attention, not just receive it by default. That's how high-value men operate. Most men are so desperate to lock her down that they forget the most powerful position in the game: indifference. Not apathy, but strength. The ability to stay grounded, centered, and unshaken no matter what she says or does. When she pushes, you don't chase. When she pulls, you don't cling. You stay rooted in purpose, mission, and self-respect. And if she walks, you let her go. Because a man who knows his worth never begs, never bargains, and never breaks for a maybe. That kind of man doesn't attract women. He magnetizes them. Attraction isn't something you convince her of. It's something she feels in your presence. It's in your eyes, your tone, your energy. And that energy comes from a life you're obsessed with, not a woman you're obsessed over. Build your body, sharpen your mind. Chase your mission with a fire so intense that she has no choice but to orbit your world. That's what makes her submit. Not manipulation, not games, but masculine gravity. So stop trying to be liked and start becoming undeniable. Stoic Law number 1. Emotional mastery. Magnetic presence. The first Stoic law is simple. A man who controls his emotions controls the room. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you stop reacting, when you become calm, centered, and composed, you instantly rise above 90% of men." Women don't want a man who panics when she pulls back. They want a man who can walk through fire without flinching. Emotional self-control signals strength. And in a world of weak, over-emotional, reactive men, strength is sexy. A stoic man doesn't lose himself in desire. He keeps his edge. When you walk into a room and your energy is calm, grounded, and unshakable, people feel it. You don't have to say a word. Your presence speaks for you. Why? Because most men walk around like emotional time bombs. They chase validation, seek approval, and collapse the moment pressure hits. But you're different. You don't chase, you choose. You don't react, you respond. That level of inner control makes you unpredictable, and that unpredictability makes you powerful. No one knows what you're thinking, and that mystery builds gravity around you. Women aren't attracted to your words. They're drawn to your energy, and energy doesn't lie. If your nervous system is scrambled, she'll feel it. If you're needy, anxious, or reactive, no matter how smooth your lines are, she'll sense the weakness underneath. Emotional mastery isn't about pretending to be calm. It's about becoming calm. The kind of calm that comes from deep work, breath control, solitude, journaling, brutal self-honesty. She tests you not to hurt you, but to see if you're the kind of man who can lead when shit hits the fan. When she pulls away, the weak man collapses. But the stoic man? He smiles. He's built for the storm. Think about the warriors of old, Spartans, samurai, gladiators. They didn't scream in fear. They stood silent in chaos. That silence wasn't emptiness. It was supreme control. The modern battlefield is no different. It just looks like arguments, rejection, uncertainty, and betrayal. The question is, can you keep your frame when everything's falling apart? Can you hold your ground when emotions try to drown you? Most men get swept away, but the stoic man anchors himself. He doesn't resist emotion. He masters it, and in doing so, he becomes untouchable. Understand this. Every time you choose composure over chaos, you sharpen your masculine edge. You separate yourself from the average. Emotional mastery isn't about being cold or distant. It's about being disciplined. You can feel fear without bowing to it. You can feel anger without becoming it. And when you master this inner world, you begin to command the outer one. You start leading conversations. You become a lighthouse for people lost in storms. And in the eyes of a woman, that's not just attractive, it's magnetic, because she doesn't want another boy pretending to be a man. She wants a rock. So, how do you build this mastery? You suffer on purpose. You fast. You train when you're tired. You breathe through discomfort instead of running from it. You embrace boredom. You cut out the cheap dopamine. You lean into solitude until your own company becomes your power source. This is the forge where Stoic men are made. Not through words, but through discipline. Every choice you make to delay gratification, every time you sit in the fire without flinching, you become rarer, stronger, sexier. And that's why emotional mastery is the first Stoic law. Because without it, nothing else you build will hold. Stoic law, thus 2, detachment is power. The second Stoic law, detachment, not coldness, not apathy, but the ability to want something without needing it. When you cling, you repel. When you're detached, you become unpredictable, and unpredictability is magnetic. She starts wondering what you're thinking, why you're not chasing, why you're not moved by her games. That mystery, that sense that you're not emotionally hooked, that's where attraction begins to spark. Detachment is not weakness, it's composure. It's the man who walks away from the table when respect is no longer being served. The man who doesn't beg, doesn't chase, and doesn't argue for his worth. He's not heartless. He simply refuses to be held hostage by outcomes he can't control. You can't manipulate a man like this because he's already won the battle within. He wants love, sure, but he doesn't need it. He values connection, but he values self-respect more. That balance is rare, and anything rare is irresistible. Detachment makes you dangerous in the best way possible. You want to know why most men lose? Because they're addicted to validation. One glance, one message, one compliment, that's all it takes to throw them off center. They fall into a psychological trap, obsessed with gaining approval, terrified of rejection. That's not love, that's enslavement. Detachment breaks the chains. It trains you to be your own source of power, to give without needing to receive. To walk away without bitterness, that's strength, that's Stoic masculinity. A detached man isn't passive, he's disciplined, he still shows up, he still leads, but he does it without losing himself in the process. You can tell when a man's operating from detachment. He doesn't flinch under pressure, he doesn't react when provoked. He pauses, he observes, then he responds with calm precision. That calmness, that stillness in chaos, that's what women feel even if they can't describe it. It's the energy of a man who's in control of himself, and that control is intoxicating. Understand this, detachment is the birthplace of power in relationships. When you stop over-investing in people who under-invest in you, you change the entire dynamic. You stop being the performer, you stop living for scraps, you reclaim your seat at the table as a man of worth. She'll sense it instantly. And suddenly, her games won't work, her tests won't land, because your value no longer hinges on her reactions. You've built your identity on something unshakable, you. The Stoics didn't preach detachment to make men cold. They preached it to make men free, free from the madness of desire, free from emotional slavery, free to love deeply without losing clarity. In a world full of chaos, the detached man is the eye of the storm. He's rare, he's respected, he's remembered. Because while everyone else is driven by fear of loss, he's driven by purpose. And that purpose, that unshakable direction, it makes him unforgettable. Stoic law, number 3, purpose first always. The third law is non-negotiable, purpose first always. Seneca said, if a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. Women are drawn to men who are going somewhere, who have a vision, a mission, a purpose so big that no woman, no rejection, no distraction can shake him. Your purpose is your anchor. When she sees that your life doesn't revolve around her, that you're building something with or without her, she's drawn in. Why? Because it shows power, it shows leadership, and it shows you're not here to beg, you're here to build. A man without purpose is like a ship without a keel. He drifts, he flounders, he sinks. When you put purpose first, you stop being tossed around by the tides of emotions, opinions, and temporary desires. You no longer need validation, because your mission is your validation. Purpose is a shield against the chaos of the world and the chaos of relationships. A woman doesn't want to be the center of your life. She wants to be a part of a life that's already moving with force. If you're sitting around waiting for her texts, your energy is bleeding out. If you're building your empire, she'll feel it in her bones and chase you. Your energy becomes magnetic because it's grounded in something bigger than her approval. That's what separates leaders from followers. That's what separates the chosen from the forgotten. Understand this: a woman can sense when a man is lost. It leaks out in your words, your energy, your hesitations. You can say all the right things, but if you don't know what you're building, she won't trust you. And trust is everything. Purpose builds trust because it shows you can lead yourself and, by extension, lead others. Women instinctively want to align with strength, and strength comes from self-leadership. When you're clear on your purpose, you walk differently, you speak differently, you make decisions differently. There's no need to manipulate, no need to convince. Your life becomes the proof. If she fits into that life, good. If not, you keep moving without apology. Purpose doesn't ask for permission. It declares itself through action. Purpose first doesn't mean coldness. It means clarity. It means you know who you are and where you're going, and nothing will pull you off course. Love, relationships, even family are part of the journey, but they are not the map. If you lose yourself chasing someone else's approval, you betray the very core of what makes you attractive in the first place. Purpose forces you to look in the mirror and ask, am I building my life, or am I waiting for someone to give me one? Stoicism is about mastery of the self, and mastery starts with anchoring to something beyond momentary emotions. You don't just talk about discipline. You live it, breathe it, embody it. Women want to join a movement, not save a man from drowning. Be the storm, be the mountain, be the mission. When you choose purpose first, rejection loses its sting. Success and failure stop being personal. They're just feedback on the path to mastery. Every no becomes a sharpening stone. Every betrayal becomes a lesson. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity to grow stronger, clearer, sharper. And guess what? That resilience is irresistible. Women respect a man who can lose her and still stay on course. They respect the man who doesn't crumble, doesn't cling, doesn't negotiate his destiny. Your purpose makes you bigger than the moment it pulls you out of weakness and plants you in power. It is your compass, your fuel, your armor. Without it, you're prey. With it, you are unstoppable. Purpose first, always. Not sometimes, not when it's convenient. Not when it's easy, every single day. You wake up and serve your mission before you serve your feelings. You chase your vision before you chase validation. You pursue greatness before you pursue approval. When you live like this, you stop being a man that women merely like. You become a man they respect and remember. Your legacy becomes inevitable, and your life becomes your loudest message. I am not here to be chosen. I am here to choose. Here's what most men don't get. Women are biologically wired to test you, not to be cruel, but to see if you're the real deal. If you break under pressure, if you react emotionally, if you chase when she pulls away, you fail the test. But if you stay stoic, grounded, unshaken, she feels safe. Safe to respect you, safe to follow your lead. Safe to admire you as the masculine presence she secretly craves. This isn't a game, it's psychology. And stoic energy? It passes every test without trying. Most men think attraction is about saying the right thing or flashing money. But women aren't attracted to words, they're attracted to energy. The calm under pressure. The man who doesn't need her but chooses her. The one who doesn't flinch when she throws a storm his way. That's what separates a man she entertains from a man she submits to. When you react emotionally, you become predictable. When you argue, defend, or chase, you reveal weakness. But when you breathe, relax, and smile through the chaos, she feels something. That's where attraction is born. In silence, in stillness, in presence, most men are desperate to be liked. They avoid conflict, they walk on eggshells hoping to be seen as a good guy. But women don't want good guys, they want strong men. Men who lead, men who don't seek approval. Because if your sense of self is fragile, built on her validation, she will always feel unsafe around you. That doesn't mean being an asshole. It means being rooted in who you are, no matter how she reacts. It means making decisions, setting standards, and never wavering when tested. She'll test your frame, not because she hates you, but because she wants to trust you. Don't fold. When she pulls away, most guys panic. They text more, call more, ask questions, try to fix it. But real men lean back, they give space, they observe. Because a masculine man doesn't chase chaos, he stands still and watches it sort itself out. That's how you earn her respect, not by chasing her mood, but by showing yours can't be moved. And when she sees that, she comes back, every time. Not because you forced it, but because your energy was too powerful to ignore. Understand this, your emotional control is everything. That's the foundation of true masculinity. If she can move you like a puppet with every mood swing, every silent treatment, every test, you're not leading, you're reacting. And women can't respect what they control. They don't want to be your emotional anchor. They want to be drawn into your emotional gravity. So don't try to fix her emotions. Master your own. That's what makes her feel safe. That's what earns her devotion. Not noise, not effort, just presence. Stoic, unshakable, relentless. So how do you lock this in? Here are 5 actions to hardwire stoic attraction. Not the cheap kind that fades, but the kind that haunts her when you're not even in the room. Limit your responses. Every time you react instantly, you give her power over your state. A man who always replies fast is a man who's always waiting. Wait before replying. Let the silence do some of the talking. Control the urge to always engage, because urgency reeks of need. When you pause, you reclaim your frame. She starts to wonder where your attention went, and that's where curiosity builds. Attraction isn't in the words, it's in the gaps. Slow response, high value. You're not playing games, you're just not chasing anything. Breathe before you speak. Stillness is presence. Most men rush their words, trying to impress, trying to win. But the man who pauses, who breathes, who owns the space between, stimulus and response, that man commands the room. That breath, it's your anchor. It tells your nervous system, I'm in control. She'll feel that. You're not reactive, you're composed. The pause creates tension, and in tension, attraction is born. Say less, but say it with gravity. Say less. Your silence is your power. Desperation talks too much, trying to explain, trying to justify, trying to prove worth. But the man who knows his value doesn't over-explain. He lets his actions speak. He lets the mystery do its job. Women don't want a man who lays it all out. They want to feel a man they can't quite figure out. When you say less, she leans in. When you overtalk, she pulls away. Silence isn't empty, it's loaded. Disengage from her reactions. If she pulls away, don't chase. Lean back even more. Most men lose their frame the moment she tests them. Panic sets in, and they try to fix, prove, or please. But you're different. You don't react to her emotions because your self-worth isn't built on her validation. Detachment isn't cold, it's powerful. When she pulls and you don't follow, she feels it. She starts to chase what she can't control. Stay unbothered, stay unshaken. That's the masculine edge. Live for something greater. This is the cornerstone. Your mission must come first, even if it means walking away. A man with no purpose is a man who orbits women, but a man with purpose. He builds empires, not drama. She must feel that your life is already full, that you don't need her, you choose her. And if she disrespects your path, you walk. Not out of anger, but out of principle. Purpose is the ultimate aphrodisiac. And when she sees that fire in you, she'll either rise with it or get left behind. The moment you stop chasing is the moment the game changes. You'll start seeing attraction flow to you instead of fleeing from you. But here's the real challenge. Can you stay stoic when it's hard? Can you hold your frame when she tests you, ignores you, or tempts you to fall back into weakness? This is where men are made. So if you're ready to rise, I challenge you right now. Drop a comment and say, I choose stoic power. And then live it. Not just for her, but for you. If you felt this hit your soul, like, comment, and subscribe. We're building a new breed of men. The kind women feel instinctively and never forget.